Welcome to the 12 Days of DIYs. I'm Sonnet with Sonnet's Garden Blooms, and I want to welcome you all to my channel. If you haven't been here before, I'm all about DIYs, thrift flips, furniture flips, a day in the life of a small business owner, and now I've done the series where you will have 12 full days of DIYs. This is day 8, and today's giveaway, we are going to give away Wonderland Avenue. So I did make one of these for myself, and I made one for you. So to enter into the giveaway today, what you do need to do is, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notification so you'll be notified every Monday and Friday when I do release a video. Give this video a thumbs up, so like the video, and then make a comment. Tell me what you're thinking about the DIYs today, and then share the video. The more people that you share it with, the more people that will find out about my channel. So that's today's giveaway, and this giveaway is for the 4th of December, which would have been the makeover of my buffet, which is right here. And you will win the 3 colors that I used for DIY paint for the blending technique. So let's see here. And the winner is Amber Moy. So you are the winner. I will go ahead, put your name down in the description, an email where you can then email me your address where I can ship those items to you. Now, go ahead, enjoy today's video. I hope you like it. All the DIYs for the mantle today. I've seen photos on Instagram of, it looks like a made snow globe, where they have a really cool vintage looking container. They have bottle brush trees in it with some snow. So I had this container, I had it sitting around, and I loved it because it has like almost like you're looking through a window, like a glass window. So I liked that. I like the detail on the side too and on the top. It just looks like you're looking into a window. So what we're going to do is, I have 3 trees and various heights, and we're going to take hot glue and we're going to hot glue them to the bottom. So strategically, I have an idea of how I'm going to place them, and then we're going to take and we're going to put the snow down on top. Once I get these glued, we're putting the snow in. Now this frosty snow was a bit much. I bought it at Walmart, and when I walked up, there was snow everywhere. I feel sorry for that employee that has to pick this up. And I don't know if I would actually use it for like a nativity scene like it's recommended for. By the time I ended up checking out, I had snow in my hair, all over my clothes, everywhere. And I was picking it out all day long. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, another piece of snow, another piece of snow. So I'm hoping that it stays in place where I want it in here. I also have, they had these tiny little balls, but they didn't look really like snow. I thought this looked a little bit more like real snow. So let's go ahead and get started by hot gluing the trees in first. So I am just starting with the red tree. Because that is the tallest, I figured I would place that first in the back of the container. When I initially was going to do this, I had a much smaller container, and it was much more difficult to work with, getting my hand actually in the container. Then I went with the next size tree and just applied just enough glue and placed that like kitty corner, and then I placed the smallest tree. Once those all dried, then, which hot glue dries very quickly. Like, I basically picked this up within no time and it was already dried. So I think once it almost hits that glass, it almost like melds into place and is set to go. So I think this looks super cute already. Next, we're going to strategically figure out how to open this bag of snow without making a ginormous mess. I decided to open it up from the bottom where that tab was, and I am taking little bits at a time this stuff like really is, it sticks to you. It's almost like staticky. I don't know how to explain it. And I think that's why it makes such a huge mess. So I try to take as little as possible and then just spread it around. I do really think this does look cute though, with that on the bottom. I think it looks a lot cuter than the other snow that was actually at the Walmart too. But after I was looking, I'm like, it is missing something. I just think it needs something else. The initial container that I had was a little bit smaller, so it didn't have as much area. But when I found this, I liked it better. So I decided to use this ornament that I picked up at the Dollar Tree last year. I picked up a bunch of them. And I just thought it would be so cute right there, front and center, brings out the red of the tree, adds a little flash, and to finish it off, I just add the top, and I love it. I think it looks like a little mini snow globe. The next project, I have these books. They're not old by any means. They're just hardcover books that I had. I typically try to take out pages and do different projects with them. So what I decided is I really wanted some old vintage looking books on my mantle or around my mantle. And I wanted to tie them with some twine or something, make them look just festive. But I don't have any old books, and so I decided to try to make these look old. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm going to distress them. I'm going to go outside with my sander, and I am just going to try to scuff them all up and make them look worn and old. And then come back, I'll show you what they look like after I do that. So now I brought them back in, and I just distressed the heck out of them. So for all you book lovers, I apologize. I ended up finding these all at a rummage, and they were in a box, and I got them all. So I try to repurpose books, but anyway, so now that I have it looking like this, I am going to take marquee and I am going to paint them red. I'm going to let these dry. I'm going to go back, and then we're going to resand them, and then we are going to clear coat them with Big Top, and then I'm going to try to take black wax and just even make them look a little bit more distressed and aged looking with the black wax. So let's go ahead and get started with painting them with marquee. I love using DIY paint. The coverage is always phenomenal. What you should know too about the DIY paint is that you can reactivate it until you clear coat it. So that is always something to consider. When you're using it, it will dry almost like a chalky look, and you'll know that you can then reactivate it. Once you go ahead and clear coat it, it is sealed, and then it cannot be reactivated. So that is just a little tip there, but I'm loving how this is going on, and I love the red books. I've been doing a lot of research on vintage books, and there's just so many different red variations out there, and I was trying to get this look. It is not perfect, obviously, because it is not an old vintage book, but I think I came pretty close to making it look like that. The books are dry, so now what I plan on doing is I'm going to take them back outside. I'm going to distress them again to bring out some of that black underneath, and then we are going to do the clear coat with Big Top to seal them, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the black wax from DIY as well to give them even a more aged look, and then I'll show you how it looks. So let's go outside and get these distressed even further. All right, so that was pretty easy. I just took my orbital sander and I just sanded the whole piece just to give it a more distressed look. And now we're gonna do a clear coat, like I said, with the big top. And then after that, then we're going to put the black wax on it. And I'll show you from there what the finished product looks like. So now I'm going to add the black wax, and I think it's just going to add a little bit more age and distress to the piece. The underside is already that black. I just think it's gonna dull the red down a hair so it's not as bright and vivid, and it does look like it has that old time aged look. And basically what I do is I just wipe it on, and then I take the other side of the paper towel and I just wipe it back. And then I am going to let this dry overnight, and tomorrow then it will be ready to go on to my mantle. Now I'm taking the Waverly antiquing wax and a wet paper towel, basically just a heavily damp paper towel, and I'm going to just dip it into the lid of that antiquing wax, then smear the wax in that damp towel, like kind of smear it around, and then I'm going to wipe it on those white pages. I want the pages to look old and aged. I don't want them to look clean and crisp like they did. It goes on just a little darker, but as it dries, it actually dries a little lighter and it looks a little bit more natural. And by the third book, I'll be honest, I think I had it mastered. At first, it kind of went on a little heavy, but I really do think it looks great. And I think mostly people are going to be looking at the actual outside of the books and not the pages, but I just wanted them to be a little toned down. Here is the finished product. I am in love. I hope you guys are too. I absolutely love how these turned out. I'll be able to use them now and definitely in the future. I'm going to be doing more of these books in different colors. I saw some vintage stockings that were long and I wanted to make vintage stockings to hang off of the mantle. Now, I did not have a pattern, and so what did I do? I broke out my running sock, okay? And I wanted it to kind of mimic that, so I just laid it down, and I kind of laid it out, and then I just basically went around the whole thing, and that is how I created my pattern. So I'm wondering if it is a little bit too wide, but that's okay. I do like it. I like the look of it. It's still vintagey. And then I'm gonna just sew it up next, and then I'm gonna fray the edges and then add a little loop here. So I am gonna make a set or 4 of these, one for my husband, one for my daughter, my son, and myself. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. These came together so quick. If you don't have a sewing machine, I'm sure you can glue the edges, but honestly, using a sewing machine makes things so easy. And these are, the sewing machines at like the Walmart are very inexpensive. I sewed the edges, or I sewed it all the way around. I added this little loop to hang. I feel like I wanted to have it a little bit more fringy, so I had read that to do that I can wash it and then dry it, so I'm gonna try that, and then you guys will see the results tomorrow when I hang them on the mantle. I'm also thinking I wanted to maybe put a name down, like our names. So I'm debating whether or not to, like, I kind of like the simplicity, but then I wish that it had something else. So I feel like maybe a stripe, or I don't know. I am gonna think about it, but at this point, this is what I have done. I've created these little stockings for the mantle, and I love them. I really do. I think they turned out awesome. And I made them using my running sock. So I don't know if it should be a little tinier or not, but I like it. I still think that It's super cute. So I'm very happy with the result. I'm going to make 2 of these signs, and this is one of the signs that I'm going to give away. I think this is a really cute idea. I'm going to paint it, both of these white, and I am going to put the saying Wonderland Avenue on here. So in red, it will be a holiday sign. I saw it, it will look like a street sign is what it will look like. So I am going to take the color crinoline, and actually in my last video that I used this, I actually said the wrong name. So we're gonna take crinoline and we're gonna paint it that color. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off doing that. And then I'm gonna use my Cricut and I'm gonna create my stencil to say Wonderland Avenue. And like I said, I'm going to make 2 of these, one for myself and one for one of you viewers. You can win that today. So let me go ahead and finish painting this up, and then I will show you the stencil that I am going to create, and then we'll stencil it on. I do like to use basically cardstock when I'm creating stencils that I'm not going to reuse. And what I have done here, you can see like on the D, the O, the R, A's, that actually you need that middle piece. So I actually have those set aside. I'm going to show you how I use that. But I just want to tell you, when you're using a stencil, I think the biggest mistake is people use paint that is not thick enough and they overload their paintbrush. So I always try to use a thicker paint, and the DIY paint is great for that. Also, there's also other types of just thicker paint available. So basically any of the chalk paints are really nice to use. So definitely consider that when you are stenciling. Try not to use a runny type of paint. And basically I just go around and I hold that piece, that middle section of like the D, I hold it in place and just go around it. It goes very, very easy. And I actually use this stencil twice, once for my sign and then the sign that I'm giving away for that one as well. So I was able to get 2 uses out of this sign, and I did the exact same thing where I just hold the little piece in place, and it actually turned out pretty perfect by me doing this. So here I'm going to take Big Top and I am going to clear coat the entire sign just to prevent the reactivation of the DIY paint. If you do not clear coat it, if you use any type of water or anything liquid, that paint will reactivate. That's why it's such a great paint for blending multiple colors as well. But I just clear coat the whole piece and it is good to go. So I wanted to create 2 little trees. I had this foam laying around, so I chopped it in half to create 2 of the trees. If you remember the garland from the other day that I used on my mantle, I did have some pieces left over from each side. With that, I decided to create a little tree with this, and then I'm going to use 2 pieces of fabric that I also had left over from when I made those pillows, and we're gonna wrap them. So I wanted to create almost like a round piece for the actual foam, so I cut the edges off, and then I'm taking the actual piece from the end of the garland, and we're just going to insert it right in the center of that. It holds really well, and then from that point, then once I insert it, I'm going to take the fabric and wrap it. I start in the center and I pull the centers, and then I just bring each of the sides up, and then I take the twine and wrap the twine around it. It is a very simple fix. These were all leftover pieces I had, so I didn't want to waste them, and it's gonna look super cute on my mantle. If you remember, I used a set of these skis on my front door wreath. So here I took the ski poles off. There was two little screws. I pulled them off. My goal here, or my vision, is I want them to look like an old set of skis. So I pulled some images up out on Pinterest of what old skis look like, and I decided to add a red stripe down the center. So the skis, it's kind of fun because I can do the strip of blue tape on each side of the ski, and there's an even mark right down the center. So that's what I'm doing here. I am using Marquee as my paint, and I am just going to add a stripe down both sets of skis. I then distressed the red stripes, and I'm going to clear coat them and then re-add the ski poles, and by far that was the quickest DIY I've done. And I love adding that little detail. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. It was a ton of fun coming up with all the DIYs. I definitely have been wanting to make those stockings for a while. I had seen them, I don't even remember, I think I saw a picture of like some vintage stockings on Instagram, and I always go out there for just inspiration, and I always come up with different ideas I want to do for myself. So that was very fun. I think they are a little bit bigger than, a little wider than what they should be, but they're mine and I love them. So tomorrow's video, I am going to style the whole mantle with everything that I have come up with. So I've quickly gone into my stash of items, got a bunch of other things that I want to include, and I'm going to show you how I style the mantle. Now, I know some of you made comments you didn't like where I put it, the mantle, you didn't like that it was so close to the buffet, but my home is fairly small. I only have limited space for a mantle, and it's mine. I like it. I put a lot of time and effort into thinking of where I wanted to put it. The nice thing too about this mantle, guys, is that it's movable. So it's not a permanent fixture there. I do change my house very often. My husband jokes because he said we're losing square footage. I've painted the walls so many times. So with that said, it can be moved at any point because it's only being held by 2 screws. So you guys, I'll see you tomorrow and enjoy your evening. Bye.